Good evening to each one of you. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, Sai, you're audible.
Good evening to each one of you turning in from different corners of the map. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to another intellectually stimulating chapter of the In Tandem Online Symposia, brought to you by the PG and Research Department of English, Queen Mary's College, Chennai. Under the compelling theme Regions and Translations in Indian Writing, today's session spotlights one of the most fascinating and layered geographies of the subcontinent, coastal regions. Far beyond being sites of trade and tourism, coastal places are palimpsests of memory, resistance, migration, and myth. They mark the edge of the known and the beginning of the unknowable. Places where language flow like tides and stories are carried ashore with every wave. This evening, we sail through poetic coastlines and political cartographies guided by voices that read between the tides and translate the texture of the shoreline into thought-provoking language. We truly are honored to begin this session by welcoming our keynote speaker for the evening, Dr. Ahalya Sukumar, retired scientist from the Center for Earth Science Studies, CESS, Akkulam, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. Dr. Ahalya joined CESS as a senior scientific assistant in 1979 and retired as a scientist E2 in 2012, completing an outstanding 33 years of service. Her deep engagement with coastal ecologies and regional geopolitics makes her an ideal voice to steer this evening's discourse. Over the course of her illustrious career, she has led several pivotal research projects such as Resource Atlas of Kerala, the District Planning Atlas of Kasargod, the Geo-Environmental Appraisal of Thiruvananthapuram City region, and the Digital Atlas of Kerala, to name just a few among many. Her excellence has been recognized through prestigious accolades such as the Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial for 1976 and the Dr. A.L. Mudaliar Prize 1976 from the University of Madras. She is also an active member of academic bodies such as the Indian Geographical Society, the Indian National Cartographic Association INCA, and the Indian Society of Remote Sensing. We eagerly await her keynote titled Geopolitics of the Coastal Regions of India, which promises to blend science, policy, and narrative in ways both vital and visionary. Dr. Ahalya, the floor is yours now.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Good evening. We can hear
Good
you.
evening, everyone. I am Ahalya Sukumar. First, I want to thank the organizers of QMC, Queen Mary's College, for choosing me to talk on geopolitics. And I thank the person who introduced me. Thank you very much. And then I have to say that for the introduction, I was also a professor in geography in Government College, Tanjavur. And the best thing is, many of you will be surprised. I was a geographer from school. From school itself, my option was geography. And then I entered Queen Mary's, and Queen Mary's College was my alma mater. So I did my graduation there. So I feel very proud to be there today and talking to you people. I don't know how many literature people, English literature people are there. I still remember the college where I studied. I have a lot of respect and love for the college. Thank you. And my special love and thanks to Preeti Srinivasan. So straight away, I'll go to my topic, geopolitics of coastal region of India. First, I will talk about, I know about geography. Let me give you a small introduction what geographers do. Study man and their environment. Earth surface, man and their environment. Human being and their environment. That is the most important for geography. And nowadays, for a long time, geography was divided, has a lot of branches, like physical geography, which talks about Earth surfaces, then relief of the soil, and so on. That is what the physical geographers study. Next, you have a lot of people who do human and social geography, population, distribution. What is the race? What is rural? All this comes in human geography. Geography is so vast. It is very vast. Then you have economic geography. There's a branch or there's a, it's a multidisciplinary subject. So you have economic geography where it talks about where the minerals are, where iron or gold or whatever it is, where it is located. And then the industries where they are located. Then you have how it is being transported, trade, transport, all this comes in economic geography. Nowadays, after that, there were other subjects which we entered or they entered with us. They joined with us or we joined with them. Like you have medical geography, you have crime geography, you have tourism geography, you have geopolitics. So geopolitics is also now entered into, and we entered them or they entered us. And most of the earlier geopolitics people were geographers. Then straight I will go with politics. What is political studies? Many of you know political studies normally it is with the government or government policies, they are decision makers, public administrators, and so on and so forth. For geopolitics, the father of geopolitics, I don't know how many of you must be knowing, but still a reminder. The father of geopolitics was Sir Alfred John Mackinder. He was the father of geography. He was founder of geostrategy also. He was not only a founder for geopolitics, he was founder for geostrategy also. And his theory was very famous. It was known as Heartland theory. It is the Heartland theory, and his famous lecture was on the pivot. That is, he was a British geographer. Actually, he was a British geographer. The geographical pivot of history. His famous lecture was on geographical pivot of history, and this Heartland theory was pivot region or important region. It was an important region, and this important region in his paper was Eurasia. He said that because this Eurasia was having lot of methods, lot of agriculture products, so they'll be the supreme power. That was his theory. Then apart from that, there were other people. For example, later there were so many people like Karl Ernst Kotscher, because they are Germans. I'm not able to pronounce it properly. Sorry for it. He was a German geographer and he was a diplomat also. So that's how he entered into geopolitics. He was a geographer, he was a diplomat. Then you have very important person. This person, many of you should remember, Rudolf Schiller. He was the one who coined this geopolitics word. Geopolitics word was coined by him. Rudolf Schiller, He was a Swedish person. He was a political scientist and he was also a geographer. Then we had Henry Kissinger. Then there was another person as Brezhnev. Then Tayan Mahan. Then you have Ratzel. Ratzel, I think many geographers know. They would have studied in their economic geography. There was Spyman also. Then in India, who were the people who did? Who were the people who did? Hello? Hello? Did I get cut off?
Ma'am, you
No,
are
no, we
audible,
can hear
ma'am.
you. We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We had Shiva Shankar, has authored India, Asian Geopolitics. And then you have a person, Harsh V. Pant, who has authored New Directions in India, Foreign Policies and Theory. Then there's another person, his name is Kajar Kamal. He has done on contemporary work. He has done on contemporary work, that is on Arthashastra. There are many in India also. Most of them are politicians or political analysts. I don't think there are many geographers who did geopolitics. I'm not very sure, but at least to my knowledge, I don't think many geographers are entered into this field. But now in India, a lot of politicians and political analysts have done this. Have geo. Now coming to the coastal region. Can you? I think you can hear me. Hello, hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can.
But I'm having since I'm doing on the mobile time.
We can hear you.
Coming to the coastal region. Coming to the coastal region. Yeah, what is the coastline is? Coastline is a boundary. It is a boundary between land and sea and the. Then what is coastal area? Coastal is the area adjacent. Coastline is dynamic. The coastline is not static. Coastline can change erosion by erosion or deposition or even tsunami or all this. The coastline will change. It is dynamic. Coastal is almost the coastline. And this is also has a very zone which has very diversified ecosystem. The coastal region have some surface features. Like example, you have the delta region, you have the cliff coast, you have the promontory, you have the estuary, you have Kayal, which is very famous in Kerala. Kayal, lagoon, all this is found in the coastal region only. And the coastline is, how do you denote a coastline or how it is measured? How do we know how much is our coastline? Because it's a continuous line in, especially in Eurasia, Europe, or any Australia or anything. It's a continuous line. So this, how is this coastline measured? The coastline of the world is measured by two organizations. One is WRI, World Resource Institute, and the other one is CIA, Coastal Information System. These are the two organizations or institutes which measure and give each country their length of their coastline. And the islands also islands also are included. It's not only the continents, islands also are measured how their coastline, what is the length of their coastline. And in India, the largest coastline in the world, what is the largest coastline? Which country has? Canada has the largest, followed by Norway, Indonesia, Greenland, Russia. India falls 19 in rank. First is Canada, and India falls 19 in the ranking. And in India, see, as in the world, the WRIA and CIA measures. But in India, apart from that, every country has their own way of measuring the length of the continental line. So in India, two organizations, that is NHO, it is known as NHO, National Hydrological Office, and then you have SOI, Survey of India. I think many of the geographers know Survey of India because the topo sheet, the maps, most of the maps, topo sheet map, it is known as topo sheet map. We have to procure it only from SOI, nowhere we get it. It's not available in the shop. Next, just for you to know, what is the length of the coastline of the world? The world has a coastline of 3,56,000 kilometers. That is the length of the whole world coastline. And for India, it is 11,098.81 kilometers. So we are very small. Compared to the world, we are very small coastline we have. Then coming to India, how many states in India have a coastline? How many states have coast? Have four have a coastline or coastal. It comes under the coastal region. They are Gujarat, from west to east. I will tell you: Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, and West Bengal. Apart from this, we have union territories also. What are the union territories which have? And most of them are, two of them are islands. One is Lakshadweep Islands, other one is Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then you have Pondicherry and they also have a small Daman and Gujarat is the largest. Among the states, Gujarat is the first. Tamil Nadu stands second in the coastal region, length of the coastal region. Third is Andhra Pradesh. In Union Territories, Andaman Nicobar falls first. That's the smallest. Then in India, you have, as all of you know, many of them India is a country with unity, diversity. Everybody knows we have diversity, we have unity. In our country, the culture is different. Earth surface is different. For example, as a geographer, I can tell you, we have everything. Like we have the snow-capped mountains, we have the Rajasthan desert, we have the eastern coastal plain, western coastal plain, plateau region, Indo-Gangetic plain, delta region, and we also have a desert region. We also have a volcanic region, that is Andaman and Nicobar Islands, volcanic region. So that is, as far as the earth is concerned, how different we are. We have so many things. Next is climate. Climate also, all of you must be knowing, you have different climate. We Tamil Nadu have monsoon climate, Kerala, southern India have monsoon climate, northern India have a cold climate, the Himalaya regions have a very cold climate, snow covered. So these are the differences. Then you have difference. We have n number of languages, n number of a lot of difference in food habits. The southern, most of them are tuned to rice, and northern states are tuned to wheat. Then our dressing habits also are different. And for geographers, more important is the housing pattern. Of course, now we have a lot of concrete jungle, but earlier you have very fixed, like Kerala has a sloping roof houses because it's heavily rain area. The water has to drain. Sorry.
No problem. Carry on.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes. Yes, we
So
can hear you.
when you have so much of diversity, our policies also cannot be the same. That's what I want to specify because we are so diverse in everything, in many things. So our policies also should not be single policy, especially in the coastal region. If it's a different region, it's different because a plateau region or northern Gangetic plain, they are similar. But in our country, the eastern coastal region is different from the western coastal region. What are the differences? I just want to tell you what are the differences. First and foremost, eastern coastal region is bounded by Bay of Bengal and the western coastal region is bounded by Arabian Sea. Both these seas are two different seas. They are not one. Their nature is different. Secondly, the coastal, the coast. If you take the coast, if you see, if you anybody sees it from a satellite picture, you can see that the east coast is more straight. The west coast is indented. The east coast have wide area and wide beaches and deltas. All the rivers have delta. Delta has got a very specific feature. These deltas are very, what do you say? The area is shallow. The deltas are very fertile. The Ganges Delta, the Mahanadi Delta, the Godavari Delta, the Krishna Delta, the Kaveri Delta. All these deltas are very fertile area. But in the west coast, on the other hand, the west coast do not have these deltas and they don't have beaches. They have only cliff coast or they have estuaries or inland like Kyle or Kyle in Kerala. And then you have estuaries. Then you have a promontory. Promontory is almost a mountain in the standing. Cliff coast is, yeah, I think many of you know what is a cliff coast. It's a mountain which exactly like you cut a cake. If you cut a cake, how will it be? Straight like that you have on the coast. So this is cliff coast. That is what is western coastal plain. Coastal region you have this. Eastern part wide beaches, long beaches, wide beaches. The famous one is the Marina Beach, which is the second largest. So you in the coastal region, in the east you have a lot of beaches, and in the west you don't have a delta. Then the other one is the rainfall. Rainfall. You have to take the rainfall into credit because most of our agriculture depends on rainfall. For example, the eastern coast gets its rainfall from the northeast monsoon. That is from August to this almost till December. It's northeast monsoon. It carries a lot of water and falls in winter, which they say it is winter. For us, it is not winter. For northern hemisphere, it's always considered as winter. So that is the time you get rain in the eastern part. In the western coastal region or western part of India, what do you find? Coastal region, they get it from the southwest monsoon, which falls in June and June. It starts in June and ends in August or September. Normally, it is called Idava Padi. Idava Padi means Idavam is a month in Malayalam, and it's in June. It starts in 15th of June, 1st of June. Sorry, 1st of June. It falls. That is Idava Padi, the Tamil month, the Malayalam month. Idava means month. Padi means half. So 15th of Idavam is 1st of June. That's how it is calculated, and it is called as Idava Padi Day. So these are the differences. Apart from that, the East Coast have very broad area under the coastal region. In the western coastal zone, you have a very narrow region. Hardly it is 30 30 miles, not even that much they have, especially in Kerala, Karnataka. The coastal region is very small. The area is very small, or the breadth is very small. Okay? I think you understand. I hope it's lively for you. Then I want to cite some small examples to you. Why we need policies? Why we need not one policy for the whole area? We need different policies for different area. So this is one example is eastern coastal area needs rain for paddy and other crops in the month of June. And June, you know, April, June month, but the crop need water in that month, and the rain starts off in Kerala, Karnataka, and Goa. All these western coastal plain gets heavy rain in June. So the policy has to be made that water is sent to us, sent to the eastern part without any problem. It will come by itself if it's too heavy. Otherwise, policy should be made eastern part and the wetter month, and it is vice versa. Actually, eastern part, the crops are different. The crops are mostly cash crops or commercial crops. They are like spices, ginger, this is grown. So they need water, and they get it in the southwest monsoon period. So the policy has to cater both. See, it is not the same. Cash crop needs different altitude, different structure of the earth. Same thing with the agriculture crop, it's different. So the policy cannot be same. Both they're having rain, but the policy should be so that it is fixed to both the eastern and western. It cannot be one policy for both the coastal region. That is what I want to say here. Then what happens is, next is the fishing. Coastal area is known for fishing. And what happens? Fishing, you have a ban period. I think many of you know fishing has a ban period. That is when there's a sperming period. In eastern coast, it is sperming period is from April. The sperming period is from fishing April to June. Yes. Eastern part, it is April to June. That is dry season. And in the western coastal region, it is from June, July, August. So the policy of this region has to be different, and the policy of the other region should be different. Because during this ban period, that is trawling ban period, that is in June, April to June, in eastern western coastal region, it is from June to August. Okay, there are two different periods. So what happens? The fish is to be transported from eastern to western part and western to eastern part. Fishing is made by the state. Fishing ban is made by this. Fishing ban. Sorry, I'm getting into trouble with this mobile. Okay. Are you sure? Can you hear
You're doing
me?
fine. You're doing fine.
Actually, the fishing ban
Fine.
is
Carry
in
on.
two different seasons. So what happened? The fish in June set from eastern part to the western part, and from the western part from July onwards, it is comes from the reverse direction, from western part to the eastern part. So, and this ban is announced. It is a state policy. It is announced the starting of this ban period is, and what is the date the ban is started. So this is state policy. So most of the states, they announce well in advance, this is the ban period. So the trawlers are not allowed to go into the sea. So things, how the geography, how does it play? How does it play into politics? That's what I want to say. Because geography has a little upper hand, because it is located, or it is locations and climate and all those features are very important to make any policy. After that, another small example I want to give is location of ports. Coastal area have n number of ports. In India, you have natural port, artificial port. Natural port are Mumbai, Kandla, Mangalore, Cochin, all these are natural ports. And in artificial port, it is Chennai, Thoothukudi, all these are artificial ports, man-made ports. These ports, they have to cater, because it has to cater the entire country. These ports in the coastal area, eastern coastal ports and the western coastal region ports, they have to cater the entire area country, because the northern states are landlocked. They don't have ports, so they are landlocked. So entire goods from UP, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttaranchal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, all these goods have to be imported or exported through these ports. So what happens? For one example, I want to say is how location or nearness plays a role. For example, Coimbatore, many of you know, it's in the western part of Tamil Nadu. This Coimbatore is an industrial area. Most of the goods, industrial goods of the Coimbatore belt is exported or imported through Cochin port, which is located in Kerala, because of its nearness, because it is nearer than Chennai. Same thing happens to many ports. For example, the southern Andhra Pradesh goods also comes to Chennai. It comes to Chennai because that's the nearest port. Otherwise, they have to go to Visakhapatnam. Taking Calcutta and Mumbai, they have a bigger hinterland, a bigger area to serve these ports. They are on the, because Calcutta, especially, it's a delta area. So what happens is, for example, it has to cater to the northeastern states, Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, Uttaranchal, and even Madhya Pradesh. Same thing is with Mumbai also. The Mumbai port also has the same problem. It has to cater to Rajasthan, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh. All these states are dependent on these ports. So the policy, because of these big ports, what happens is the goods has to be, so the government has to make policies, which are different, because these products or the goods involves what type of goods they are transported, what type of length of travel it has to be done, what is the time it takes for it to be transported, and the state also has like exporting, for example, if it is exporting to other countries, so that also has to be thought by the geopolitics, because the geopolitics, especially with the inside the state, inside the country, it's okay. But if it's outside the country, the policies should be different, and it will be different. Same thing, the geopoliticians or the policymakers have to think not only how the goods are transported. Nowadays, you have parking also. Parking has become another problem, because the charges are there for parking and for loading, because these goods, when they're transported to a port, sometimes they have to wait for 2 or 3 days to load it in the ship. So policies have to be made in such a way, especially Mumbai, Cochin, Chennai, all these big ports, the policies have to be very, um, uh, uh, it should be very reasonable because they can't charge the same thing for the different goods. So for every good, it's a different policy. That is what geopolitics plays a role. So last, to conclude, I have to say that location of any area, location of any industry or time. Why I'm telling time is, for example, the time constraint taken by a goods to travel from one area to another, from the industrial area to the producing area or to the harbor area to be exported or imported. Time is another important. So when geography is studied, they have to look into the, and the policy makers also have to think this. Two things, especially geographers, they know location is very important, time is important, and pattern in what pattern it will travel, whether it will be traveling either by lorry, some may be traveling by train. For example, you have the coal being transported only by train. So all these things have to be thought into when politicians or policymakers have to think. And everything, being a geographer, I can tell you, very important is these three: location, pattern, and time. Every school, when a school is built, when a hospital is built, when a bank is comes into comes in, or a shopping mall, or an industrial area, or export company, or whatever location is very important for anything. Best location is chosen. Seeing the nearest, for example, if you build a house, we will see the best location. We'll see that it is, first thing, we'll see it is not flooded. Second thing, we want to see whether having easy conveyance to the work spot. Third, we think of our children, whether the school is nearby. Fourth, we'll think, where is the school? Fifth, we'll think, where is the hospital? So all this we think. So the best thing is location plays a very important part. Geographical location of anything for anything. Location, these three: time, and how much time a child will take to go to school, how much time I will take to go to office. All this has to be planned by a home, by a person in the house. So the same thing occurs to the policymakers also. They also have to think about this. That is how this geopolitics have come into. Why this geopolitics? The heartland, said about the heartland theory. The heartland theory mainly focused on, it was the center part of Europe. That is, it was center part of Europe and Asia. It was called Eurasia. And this Eurasia part was very rich in minerals, very rich in agriculture products. That's why this theory came into geopolitics. Heartland theory came into existence. His famous paper was on it. Then, to conclude, one more thing I just want to say is how sometimes, due to economic reason, we move, or the location can be moved. Sometimes it happens due to economical reason or political reason or environmental reason. They change the location. Even though it is not a good location to put an industry, they will put it there. Or a school. For example, in the highland, you can't put a school. There may not be people to go there, but they need a school. There may be only 2 children who are there. They need a school. They cannot come 5 to 10 kilometers down the hilly area to come and study. So what they do, for these 2 children, the school is located. So this is what I want to say. Location is very important. for the and the policies has to be tuned. The policy has to be tuned, seeing this pattern, location, and time factor. And to conclude, the coastal area, what happens? Another important thing I just want to say is, for example, each region has a different coastal plain. Is, for example, rain. You take the west coast and the east coast. It is flooded. In the northeast time, eastern coast is flooded and it is battered with cyclone. The western coast in the southwest monsoon, you have the landslide and flood. There are two different phenomena. You have to make sure of yourself. The eastern coast has flood and cyclone is battered during the rainy season. In the western coast, what happens is you have landslide and flood. Both are induced by rain, but the policy cannot be the same. Though it is induced by rain, both are induced by the both disasters are induced by rain, but the policy cannot be the same because it's two different phenomena. So when the policies are taken, they have to consider all this, and and it has been considered also by most of the politicians and most of the IAS officers, the collectors. They take into granted. They have lot of, because when we were doing Kerala, when I was working in CES, whenever the landslide before occurring, after occurring, or they used to give us what they need, and we used to help them out. We used to map. All this has been done, and we have to now. We have lot of techniques. Earlier times we had to do it manually. Now we don't have to do it manually. We have a GIS, remote sensing. All this is there. You have the drone to do the survey. So all this is there. So it is comparatively become easy to do mapping and survey and given it to them. So they take it. The policy makers take from us whatever they want, and we were supposed to help them out, or at least we were supporting them. This is the way we were doing projects in Kerala. For 30 years, I was working there. So whenever a policy is made, I always wanted to say that we have to consider economically it is feasible, geographically it is feasible. All this has to be considered. Otherwise, it may not be good. One policy will not hold good for other areas. Eastern coastal region policy will not hold good for the western coastal area, and reverse, vice versa. It is not possible because the identities are different. Western Ghats, you have the Western Ghats on the Western Coastal Plain, and you have a small hillocks that is Eastern Ghats, which is not very prominent. They don't play much of a role, but in Western place, Western coastal region, the Western Ghats play a role in their climate, in their agriculture, in their culture, everything. The Western Ghats play a bigger role. So they are both different. They are different identities. They both are different identities, and the policies has to be different. And coming to the last part, I think I have covered or conveyed what best I remember. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know whether you enjoyed it or not. Anyway, thanks for your patient hearing. And one thing I want to say to the geographers have to be field oriented. You cannot sit on a computer and work. You have to go and check. When you have to go and check anything, check it. Because I have experience when I was doing remote sensing, when I was doing GIS, I had a lot of experience saying reality is different, the imageries are different. Sometimes it does happen. So always a geographer should walk, check when you do some field work, when you're on work. And last, to convey my special thanks again to PP. And I have only one thing to say. We have only one earth. Love the world you live. Never, ever the nature will betray you. I again want to repeat it. We have only one earth. So our policies, our thinking should be nice and good if we want to live. Love it and the world you live. Love the world you live. And I want to say, nature will never betray you. If you do something, even then the nature will not betray you. I conclude with all the good wishes for the other speakers and listeners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that expansive and enlightening talk.
One
Ma'am,
second,
can we
Dr.
move to
Kalpana, you want to say something? She raised her hand. Okay, continue. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me, ma'am?
Ah,
I'm Kalpana here. Uh, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
ah,
You have any questions?
No, ma'am. Good evening, one and all present here. I'm Kalpana, Assistant Professor of Geography, Queen Mary's College. Ahalya,
Yeah.
ma'am, today's event made
Uh,
me very happy and proud because we are both alumni of the same college and the same department. You are undeniably the pride of our college and geography department as well, ma'am. As a geography teacher, it is my duty to thank you for this very sincere presentation, ma'am. Your presentation contained a lot of detailed information about geopolitics. It was a repository of geopolitical concepts, I must say. It surely created an interest in this subject for everyone, I think, ma'am. So, my heartfelt thank you for all the English department members, especially Preeti, ma'am, head of the department, who organized today's event. So, ma'am, you are inspiring to conduct such meaningful events in our department, I must admit, ma'am.
no, I feel very sorry to say thank you for the nice words you have given me. You have
My
spoken to
duty.
me. I'm really happy that
Yes.
your department should come up, both the English department, because I had a lot of friends, apart from I had a lot of friends in my days.
Yes.
Many of them were my friends because the geography department, and I don't know now, geography department and English department had to go to for English classes together. The
Oh,
English
super.
department students and we had to go together for English classes. So I
Okay.
had a lot of friends in English.
Yes, ma'am.
So I really cherished stay there when I was studying there. I enjoyed it. And only thing I have to say the geographers, please do lot of field work. You will be
Sure, ma'am.
benefited out of it. Don't think you can do everything from GIS or remote sensing or drone. It's not. Sometimes there are mistakes which we have found out. That is Sukumar. I know you know Sukumar.
Yes,
Sukumar and
ma'am. Sir,
myself
and
have even
you attended our
told NRS
program.
because the signatures of the remote sensing, some of them, for example, I just want to give you a clue saying that the paddy and the grass which grows long in the little hilly, highly elevated area, both of them were giving same signature in the remote sensing satellite imagery. And then we contacted the NRSA and told them. And I think recently also I saw in the paper seeing the Google map, which we all follow. There was a person who met with some accident or something like that. So please try to be on field, check on field, especially geographers have to walk a lot and check it before you do anything. Thank you. And thank you. Nice of you to give me a nice word. Thank you
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, one more thing. Dr. Vasanthkumaran, sir, senior geography professor, is also a participant here in this program. My pranams. Vanakkam, sir. Thanks again to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall we move to the paper presentations, ma'am?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am. So we now move to the next segment of the session, the paper presentations. We are excited to have with us three insightful voices, each bringing unique coastal perspectives from the literary, cultural, and life dimensions. So our, our first presenter is Professor Benitta Linjo Poril,
BE, Public Speaking and Creative Writing Expert at PlanetSpark Ed Technologies. Professor Benitta hails from Kolechal, Kanyakumari district and belongs to the fisherman community herself. This rootedness adds an authentic and powerful resonance to her academic work. She holds both her undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in English language and literature from Madras Christian College and is also net qualified. She currently teaches public speaking and creative writing to students ranging from age of 5 to 50 through the PlanetSpark platform. Her MA dissertation has been published as a book titled Media Misrepresentation versus Reality 2020, which critiques dominant narratives about coastal life. She also serves as a co-editor of Chelazi publication, an initiative that amplifies emerging coastal writers. Her paper titled Waves and Worth, Fishermen's Narratives from the Shore, delves into the lived experiences, oral histories, and representational politics of coastal communities, giving voice to those whose stories are too often spoken for but rarely spoken by. Professor Benita, we welcome you to present.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. You're audible.
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction and good evening, one and all present here. I'm extremely glad to be a part of this symposia where the topic is on coastal region. So, me being an ardent fan of this coastal literature or the genre or the coastal writing and the region itself, I feel so happy that I am invited to be a speaker. And if at all my voice is not audible in between, please kindly pin me because I'm going to present in the form of PPT. So I'll be sharing my screen now. So if any one of you could be kind enough to tell me that the screen is shared, so I'll be glad to start with. Yes, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Great. Okay, so let me start with the presentation. So first of all, I welcome you all because the time spent for learning is the precious time. That is what I consider it to be. So I'm so happy that there are a lot of learners, along with me here to listen to something about coastal region. So here is my topic: waves and words, fishermen's narratives from the shore. So the reason for choosing this topic itself is to highlight the point that there is a original narrative from the first hand, from the first person itself, that is the fisherman. So I wanted to showcase the narrative of those people who know a lot about them the best. So to hear from other people writing about coastal region, it is best to know from the mouths of the people who are living and experiencing it, right? So that's why I chose this topic and I wanted to highlight the facts on that. And so I planned to focus around six subtopics from this to showcase how it has emerged and what is the state now, what is the writing style, and finally an urge to make you all interested in reading coastal writing. So beginning with the oral histories and personal storytelling. So literature itself, we know that from the beginning there has been a lot of folklore, tales and songs, everything shared orally, verbally. The same way, the histories, tradition of the coastal community of the fisher folk are transferred orally through folklore, tales, and songs. And the voices of the waves are nothing but from its people itself, right? The fisher folk. And too sad to say, or unfortunately, these voices are trapped in a tiny circle. And these voices are moreover unheard as it was never recorded, to say. And when the learned section of the community started to read stories, started to read novels and writings about them, they felt that there is a little bit of discrepancy. whichever the story or the portrayal, the characterization, they felt that there is something missing, some truth, some reality is missing. And that is when, from reading literature on their own, they began to write literature of their own. And that's how the birth of coastal writing, which blends oral histories, personal reflections, and generational wisdom, came into existence. And that is how I felt it okay, the need for a coastal writing somehow began long before. And the relationship of the coastal community with the ocean. So there is a nice saying in Tamil which goes as கடலுக்கு முகத்தையும் கரைக்கு முதுகையும் காட்டி நிற்கும் மீனவ சமூகம். So which could be translated into English as people who turn their back to the shore to face the sea. So this saying, the analysis of this saying itself would make us understand that the relationship of these people with the ocean is so close, so deep, they're so connected to each other that the people forgot to talk to the shore itself, which means the mainstream, the center, they didn't have any idea about it. Their world was just the sea. They just kept talking to the sea. But when they understood that their voices are misinterpreted, their voices are silenced and muted, that's when they began to unmute the voice. They began to break the shackles and come out to talk to the show. And now, to have some more light about the relationship with the ocean, they revere ocean as Mother Ocean. So definitely the livelihood, the source of their income, all of us, we have that dedication with our job or our workplace, right? So the same way, the people had a lot of reverence with the ocean, and they consider ocean as the mother herself, okay? And we know that how we consider a mother. She is known for giving and forgiving. So that is what I feel, because whatever we need, the mother would provide us. And whenever we make a mistake, definitely the mother will be the first person to forgive us. So I could say that the Mother Ocean here is also known for giving and forgiving the people in the shore. And this bond which they have is a very deep and intrinsic bond, and it is considered to be an epitome of love, because they have all the challenges, but still they go back to the sea, facing the challenges with lot of love. And the coastal literature will allow you to experience and explore this form of love and deeply rooted bond between the coastal community and the ocean. Now about the resilience of the coastal community, and I hope I'm audible, it's visible and all good, isn't it? It's good to check in between.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so about resilience of the coastal community, the ocean, the sea, is a giver and a taker, a provider and a peril. So in this ocean, which is giving as well as taking, there's a lot of danger, a lot of challenges, and these challenges are actually braved by the fishermen. Okay, its vastness, everything is braved by the fishermen through generations. They have been hearing the techniques and all that, all the experiences from their ancestors, and still there are youngsters venturing into the sea for fishing. And all that is because of the generational knowledge, the generational wisdom which they get. And more than survival facing these challenges, it's more about adaptation, courage, and continuity. So under adaptation, I could say that the change of fishing zones and fishing seasons, and how our ma'am, Dr.Ahalya was talking about how there is ban in fishing and how the seasons change, how geography and everything plays a role in our day-to-day life, how policies, everything must be taken into consideration based on the seasons, based on the geography, for different regions. So the same way, there are a lot of changes, and the fisher folk have to adapt to that. They have to adapt to the changing zones and seasons. They have to keep in mind, keep in practice the fishing methods and techniques which were traditionally passed down, and they have to also embrace the technology, embrace the newness, embrace all those modern techniques also as they go into fishing, and also about the courage they have. So definitely there is no fixed hours of working in sea. So when they go venturing deep into the ocean, they stay there for days and nights, long hours of fishing. There is unpredictable weather, less equipments which they take with them. To be honest, when they go for fishing, there is not a lot of extravagance equipments or anything like that. They have just fishing gears, the nets, very basic, less equipment, and mainly bad safety. To be very sad about, the sad part is that they don't have much safety measures, anything taken. They don't have people to rush to help them if at all any peril occurs. They have to wait for days in the sea, expecting for help. All these they know, they are aware of it, and still they have the courage to go into the sea, to face the challenges, and to earn their livelihood. And all these they go through with courage and also through spirituality and their belief system. So, to cite an example about the Kanyakumari fishermen, the fisher folk itself, most of them or all of them, they have a lot of strong, deep connected bond with God, be it any religion, or being it the power which they feel is securing them or guarding them. They have a lot of inclination towards God, and they go through everything with the hope that yes, everything will be good, we'll be coming back to the shore safe, all that is going to be fine, nothing is going to bring a danger or anything like that. Okay, so they have that spiritual belief, and they go through all this with that courage. And the continuity, to speak about that, there is a lot of uncertainty and predictable things when we have our work or livelihood depending on nature, because we cannot predict nature, right? And their source of income is from nature itself. So the unpredictable weather in one side, but there is also economic uncertainty. There are natural disasters, calamities, then the declining fish stocks. So the place where they go, at least from maybe 100 nautical miles from the shore, they go, and they might have found a lot of fishing stocks maybe 2 years back. But right now it's not the same. So they have to go find out where is the next, which is the next spot, where is it going to be really, a flourish of fish stocks. They have to go and find out, and all that is uncertain. And the market pressure, the fuel cost, everything, they have to face it. Still they have the courage to continue working in that itself. And this continuity, or there must be a great courage to actually pick up your fishing gears, net, and your boat to go into the sea after calamities, after losing lives, after losing the work equipments which they have, after losing all that, maybe from some disasters like Oki, cyclone, or tsunami, and some disasters like that. Still they have the courage to go back, to resume working, to go into the sea and face the challenge. So this sense of courage, I don't think we could find anywhere. And this resilience is not just in the people who are going into the sea for fishing, but also with the family. So when I talk about the writing style of the Kanyakumari writers, I would give you an idea about the themes, how mostly it is focused and all. And there you could find out how familial bond, or the hope, or the bond which they share with as a family. Because sending a man from the home, the sole breadwinner most of the time, to the sea, with the hope that he would return back, okay, and that would give us our bread, meal for a day. That is hope on a next level. So with such a hope is how the people go into the sea and also wait in the shore. So passed down through spiritual beliefs, deep-rooted respect for nature, and a hope anchored in the rhythm of waves is their resilience and their relationship. So the sea teaches patience and the fishermen teach resilience is what I should say under this. And also about the waves and its stories. So coming to our main part, where the stories of the waves are shared through the voices of the fisherfolk. So the stories here are not just tales of hardship, they are lessons of courage, about adaptation and survival. And these stories are passed down through generations verbally. So whatever stories which were heard from the great grandfather, which is actually transferred to the writing in the form of novels or any literature genre for that matter. And these are actually brought down by the writers. Now, generally how we learn from other writers about us, it's better to know through our own mouth. And that somehow hit the learned community, learned section in the community, and they started writing a lot. And those writing are the result of the stories and folklores, everything passed down but through generations. And a perfect example here I would like to cite is the novel Turbulent Tides, which is translated work originally written in Tamil by the coastal writer Kurumbane C. Berlin. So here in this novel, it revolves around the roughness and rawness in the sea and the shore. And to give you a glimpse of the novel, here there are the two main characters in the novel. They are neighbors, and there is a problem between their wives. Actually, we know that, isn't it? The raw, very usual problem which happens near the pipe, drinking water pipe, where they go to fetch water and they have silly fights and all that. So because of such a silly fight, it actually grew really really so strong and deep that it became vengeance. It became like a lot of anger, and lot of terrific emotions were burning inside the men of the husbands of those two wives. And what happens is, when this issue was happening, when the tiff or the quarrel was happening between the wives, one of the husbands actually was present, and there were also some exchange of words, and verbally they were accusing each other. So the problem was really hard. A woman's husband was in the sea, actually fishing. So when he came back after his fishing, he learned that okay, such a thing had happened, and he's raging with anger, and he wanted to kill that man at once. And what he did is, he went on searching the man and found that the man is actually in fishing now, and he has gone in the morning, early morning, and he will be coming back around by 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. in the morning. So what he did is, he went direct to the shore, waiting for that man to return so that he can kill him. And he didn't go just like that; he went with a weapon too. So he was so angry that there was a quarrel, and that other man was abusing his wife. So he was waiting there for this man to come to have the fight. And that is when, unfortunately, all of a sudden, the weather changes, the waves and the swell were really strong, and the sea became rough. And whoever is trying to reach the shore from the sea after fishing were not able to, because the boats are getting capsized. Whatever the fishing gears, whatever they caught, the catch which they got, the fish, everything were sinking in the sea, and they were not able to come back to the shore. And somehow most of the fishermen, they managed, because it is an unusual thing, right? It is not something which is very new to them. So they managed to somehow reach the shore, except for this man, okay, for whom our main character is waiting. And he is also trying a lot, and from the shore also, people are trying to go and help him, but the swell is too hard, and nobody could actually enter. So seeing this, the wife of the man struggling in the sea, who's trying to come, everybody assembled in the seashore, because the morning time, that's when the fish comes, and they start marketing, selling it. So everybody is there in the shore, learning the news. All the relatives, the wife, his children, everybody came to the shore, and they are praying, they are shouting, screaming to God to save this man. And nobody could go save him too. Here is our main character, who is known for his strength, and he's the most handsome man. He's really like a macho man who is really strong enough. He's standing there watching all this. So he's the person who was waiting for this man to come to the shore so that he can strike and put him to death, right? So he saw all this, looking at the wife's cry and plea to God. He right away took a long rope, tied one end to his waist, so strong, gave the other end to a man standing nearby. He quickly jumped into the sea, put all his strength against the waves. He was struggling, fighting. He won against the waves. He went, saved the man who was about to drown to death. He saved him, brought him back to the shore, put him on the shore, and he just walked away. So this here is about how there is calm after a storm, and how the roughness, the raw nature of the sea will become normal all of a sudden. And I should also cite here how after this man came back to the shore, the sea went on to its normal mode, being so calm and beautiful with very tiny waves. So this is how the people are. They are most of the times portrayed as very rude, rough people who are always, angry, who always are very rude to others. That's how they are portrayed in media, in movies. And you could also see how fishermen, when they are portrayed in movies as characters, most of the times or all the times they are given a very bad makeup, like their hair is tamed in such a way that it has not seen water or oil for several years, or how these people don't take good care of themselves, they don't wear a dress, good dress, they don't look appealing. That's how they are portrayed in movies also. And that is what I wanted to put out. I want to break those portrayals, those misrepresentations. I have to show the reality. I did my MA dissertation on this novel, The Turbulent Tides, and I wanted to show how humanity prevails in them, how much ever angry you are, how much ever hatred you have. The moment you realize that there is a person who is about to lose his life, you put away all those things and you go and help him. How you be close, how you share that brotherhood. That is what I wanted to highlight. And here I wanted to say that reading these coastal literature, reading this coastal writing only would allow us to go and explore the reality of these people. So that is what is the important thing. And this is the front page of the novel Turbulent Tides, written by Kurbanisi Berlin and translated by reputed professors Dr. Philo Fragrance Serene and Dr. James R. Daniel. And several of their books, the books written by coastal writers are also under translation, and many of the works are translated into English, so that these works should reach the mainstream, should reach people who who doesn't know the regional language. It should reach to them. They should learn about the people, the reality, the true nature of these people. That's why the translation works are also on board. And this will help you people whoever couldn't understand or not able to read the regional languages. When it is in English, it's common for all of us to read, isn't it? So that is how people are working hard to bring this truth to the mainstream. And now to focus on coastal literature as an independent genre of study. Why we should have such a genre, an umbrella called coastal literature? Because only through a genre like this, only through knowing about the writings of coastal people, we could know how there is a compelling exploration can be done through these genres about the life of people at the edge of land and sea, told through the voices of those who know the best. And it captures the rhythms, struggles, and poetry of fishermen's lives. It's not just about story or something which happened, a fact which is recorded. No, most of most of the times it is actually comparing human with nature, human attitudes and behaviors with nature's behavior, and how there is a very silent, very mild poetry in the lives of the fisher folk. That when if we need to know, we could not know it from anywhere else other than by reading about them, which are written from by them. And also it gives an unfiltered glimpse into a world where tradition and survival are inseparably entwined. Okay, and it weaves together our oral histories, folklore, and daily routines of these people, which is very simple but deep. So we see nature as so simple, isn't it? Most of the times we just overlook nature, a small leaf which is so fresh, which just bloomed today morning. We just we just pass by, we just overlook it. But there is a lot of beauty in it. When we stand and take a look at it is when we understand the real beauty or the essence of nature. That is how the people of nature is also. So we need to go into the realities of them, their lifestyle and everything. And only then we could know about them. Only then we could decide whether to appreciate or to blame them for whatever is happening in their lives. And then these narratives are definitely not just about fishing. It is not all about what all techniques they use, how they do fishing, what is the danger there. It's not just about that. It is about memory. It is about the resilience which they have in their mind, both in the land and the sea, and the enduring spirit of the coastal life itself. Okay, so whatever pain that comes to them, they endure it, they tolerate it, hoping that this is going to pass and we are going to flourish the next day, because that is what their day-to-day life is. There is no certainty. They have to live through this with a lot of hope. And by giving voice to a community often heard only in statistics but not in stories, this narrative offers a human perspective on marine life, heritage, and the enduring bond between man and sea. Also, by amplifying the voices of this silenced fishing community, we could strike against the center, which exploits the margin with the politician friendly projects, I should say, like commercial harbors, hydrocarbon extraction from the sea, from the ocean, evacuating the fisher folk in for resort construction, encroachment, etc. So we know a lot about Adivasis, how their livelihood in the mountains are actually endangered, how their life in deep forest is actually at stake, how encroachment is happening. We all know about that, but how many of us are aware of the fishing communities issues and problems, how their land, how their region, how their area of living, their shelter and livelihood is taken away from them without even giving them another replacement or another way. And the reason for evacuating them is also for certain resort construction and all these things. Is it so valuable than the life of thousands of people who are living there, depending only on nature, only on Mother Ocean? So we have to think about it, and we will know the pain and the real essence only when we read the writings of these people. And now to the important and very interesting point, the features of Kanyakumari writing. So the writers here, and generally I should say most of it would be common in the writings of other coastal writers also. But generally here, talking about it, the risk of going for fishing. So how ma'am was saying, like different region have different its own kind of risk, its own kind of seasons and everything. So they just not go fishing only in the east coastline. They also go fishing in the west coastline. So they are very much known of both the coastlines, and they know in what time they have to go, which is the good spot for a good fish stock, which is a good season, which is a good technique to use. All these they are equipped with in their head, and all of this must be recorded in the writing too, isn't it? But the main focus here is given on their emotional, physical, and cultural resilience, how they resist all this, how they endure and tolerate all this and overcome this. Okay, overpower this most of the time. And the themes of pain, endurance, spirituality, familial bond, the concept of nature versus human, and courage and strength. All these are focused and highlighted in the works of the Kanyakumari writers. And the dialect here is definitely regional, because the way they speak, the slang, everything is as it is recorded in these works. There is no way of finding any sentamil or any traditional way of speaking. All that all this is not to be found here. It is just so raw, okay, so pure, so regional. The slang as it is recorded. Sometimes you would wonder, how could we find out spellings for such slang and the way of speaking, because it is such a way, it is conversation style, isn't it? So definitely the regional dialect, it will pull you so close. If at all you know the language, if you know Tamil, it is easy to actually get pulled to that slang. And nowadays we are planning, we are working hard to translate all these things, which is extremely difficult, because translating a normal Tamil work itself is a big task, because the essence, the reality, the nature of that work must be transferred into the translation also. And here, about regional dialects, about the slangs, it is extremely hard, because there is no other replacement or no other word in English for most of the words used here. Most of the the way we speak, nothing could be replaced, no other word is there. So most of the times this touch would be missed. So the translators are trying hard to actually surpass these defects or demerits and trying to bring out the slang in its original form. And as I said, there is conversation style throughout. There is dialogues and monologues. So monologue, we know a character speaking about themselves. Okay, there is no other person to share or exchange dialogues. It is just the audience and the character, the person. So whatever is there deeply hidden or whatever experience, both good and bad, everything is shared from the character themselves in the form of monologues, and that will give us a lot of way to find out the realness, the nature, the rawness of this character. And the narrative style is definitely very much exuberant, bringing in a lot of cheerful, very energetic kind of description, and it is very long story like lot of descriptions, comparisons, okay, lot of personification used, and it looks simple when you just go through, when you just begin, but when you finish a story or a novel of this kind of writing, it hits you hard. It is deeply connected with you. It will leave you with lot of things to know, no, lot of pain. It will lead you, yeah, take you to lot of emotions. It will be like a roller coaster, a roller coaster ride throughout, and you will be able to take away a lot of things from this kind of writing, because these are real stories of the people who are living right now. And to give you certain examples of works which are translated now, here I would take you to certain works of, some works of Kurmanesi Berlin, whose works were actually translated into English. And also there are lot of works which are in the regional language, in Tamil, in Malayalam. We have all these works which are written by many writers, many emerging writers, like Jesudas Jerome, Arul Snehan, Saptika, and there is Kadige Arul Raj, Leon Sasi, there is Selvaraj, Muttam S. Walter. There are plenty of writers now who are just jumping into, jumping from nowhere, coming with lot of stories which were there with them for years. They didn't have a platform. They couldn't find out how to share their stories. And now that the coastal writing has emerged a little bit, all of them got a chance to come and share with you all their stories, the stories of their grandfathers, great grandfathers, the people around in the shore, and the people who go into the sea and who just don't come back, who just vanish just like that. Oh, all these stories are brought in front of you for you to not just simply read it like a story and enjoy and just take it art for art's sake. It's not just for that. It is to take out something. There is some morality. There is something which is teaching you the power of resilience, how to endure the things happening in the world. All this you can definitely take away from these writers who are in the coastal region. And to finish with, the finally I wanted to actually put forth a plea to all of you here to read, to research coastal literature, to know the people, to learn about the fisher folk by reading lot of coastal works. So only when we read, we learn. It's not just about all okay, there are lot of developments. AI has come into force. It is replacing, is what many of the people are saying, it is a boon. There are some people are saying it is there is a lot of comments on that. But whatever we take, reading or knowing about it, hearing the stories, learning about these people will definitely take you close to nature, because there are a lot of research options which you can do in coastal writing, like psychoanalysis, feminism, which is about the women, okay, the coastal women, how is their life, how are they actually brought up, what kind of force is actually there in them to let their husband, to let their son to go into the sea, wait for them with a lot of hope, with a lot of prayers. What is giving them all this? So to know and learn about all these things, you can learn, you can read the coastal literature, you can research about it, bring it out to the world. And that is what is the power of researchers and scholars. students, isn't it? So that is why I wanted to give it as a plea to all of you to learn about the people who are living close to nature or God, bring to limelight the suffering of the fisher folk, and give a psychoanalytic research of the people, and to learn or showcase highlight the role of coastal women in fishing and marketing, feministic study on the coastal women as the dominant figure, and to dissect the reality to overpower the prevailing misrepresentation. Because most of the times when there is some project which is actually put forth in the name of the welfare of the people there in the coastal community are fighting against it, and they are blamed for it. Okay, why do you want to fight for all the issues that is happening? And right now we are facing in Kanyakumari a really big issue on extraction of hydrocarbon and all those things, and still we are in the ground, in the field fighting. Okay, and we believe that yes, it will be actually sorted out. It will be, the government will definitely do in the favor of the people, thinking about their welfare and their the safeguarding their livelihood and all those things. So definitely the government will understand and work in favor of us. That is what we people are, and that is what is the motive of our struggle. So when people are standing outside and looking at all these things, they will definitely get the concept. So we do believe to learn through research, and that is why we are here today for the presentation of bringing out the reality. Finally, thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope that this would trigger some people to read, most of the people to research and have a really good, brilliant presentations and brilliant lots of research in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful. It was an eye opener to many people who really don't know more about these coastal regions. And it is real. It is in Tamil Nadu, and it is located towards the south. And we really got that awareness what is really going on out there. It was very innovative, and it was an amazing presentation. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And let's move on to the second paper presenter. Our second paper presenter for the day is Ms.Swarna Rekha, currently pursuing her M.A. in English at Madras Christian College, Chennai. She completed her undergraduate degree in English at Crescent University, where she served as the student coordinator of industrial relations, joint director of public relations in the Crescent Club of Finance, and treasurer of the Crescent Librarian Society, demonstrating both academic commitment and leadership in literary spaces. Her paper title, Coastal Landscape as a Symbol of Isolation and Self-Discovery, explores how coastal geographies become metaphors for emotional solitude, personal growth, and existential transformation in literature. With a poetic eye and analytical clarity, she examines the inner shorelines of characters mirrored by the coastal settings. Ma'am, the virtual mic is yours now.
Thank you. So, very good evening to one and all present here. So, I'll be presenting the paper now, and if you can't see my screen, please let me know. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you. So my topic is about coastal region as a symbol of isolation and self-discovery. So I'm Swarna Rekha from Madras Christian College, currently pursuing my PG in English literature. So the introduction to my topic is I'll help you understand how the concepts why coastal regions are used by authors to convey the emotional and psychological aspects of life. Since we all know we are so emotional beings, right? So we are human beings. So the authors uses a technique of coastal region settings in order to make it more emotional and psychological psychologically relatable to our life. So that is how I see coastal region as a symbol. And then I would answer you the question how coastal region can be a symbol of isolation as well as the symbol of self-discovery by the end of the presentation. And then the main idea of this paper presentation is to make you understand how literature can relate emotional and psychological aspects in form of coastal region, and also it helps us to build storytelling in more interconnected manner. So whenever you find people reciting stories, so they literally interconnect the in form of building a story. The author connects you to the setting by showing a coastal region as a setting platform. So let's move on with the literature review. So I have taken two books. The one is a novel, The Old Man and the Sea, as we are all familiar with this novel, I guess. And it was written by Ernest Hemingway Way. There is a character called Santiago. He's a old fisherman. So he goes to the sea to venture in his old age. So this shows how isolated is he in the old age, right? So people in the old age are always isolated. They go alone and do something, a venture. So he goes on a venture to catch fishes. And in the end of catching the fishes, he discovers his self-discovery, where he catches a fish called marlin. So that is a giant fish which will be taken photo by all the people over the sea. So when he comes back from the sea, he discovers himself in his old age. So I feel the author had made the setting in the coastal region to symbolize both the isolation as well as the self-discovery. So let's move on to the second example of the literature review, that is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. So Virginia Woolf, as we all know, she's a great writer, a female writer. So To the Lighthouse is none other than a very birth work of her. So here in am I making sense? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So here To the Lighthouse. In this, the lighthouse is an is which symbolizes both the theme of isolation as well as the self-discovery. So there are two characters, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsay. Mrs. Ramsay is dead, and Mr. Ramsay takes his children. Um, the name of the children are James and another daughter. So they just take her. Mr. Ramsay has to fulfill the um, wishes of a wife after her death. So he is a philosopher. He takes the kids to the sea, and when he comes back, he finds his own self-discovery of going into the sea and coming back. So that is his self-discovery. And then as you see a lily, a character, a lily in the lighthouse, where she paints her own representation. So she represents herself through her painting near the lighthouse. So this is a symbolism of both isolation as well as a self-discovery. Let's move on to the analysis and the main part of the paper. So isolation, whenever I say the word isolation, people think it's a very negative word because you're all alone. So I should make it clear here, because when people go to the sea, they go alone. They discover themselves in a way that it is a positive term in literature, transformation. So isolation is a medium of transformation, where people go to the sea, they fish all alone, they discover a talent of bravery, courage to face the sea. A sea is no human being, right? So they learn a new skill how to adapt to sea, and they gain a knowledge how to connect the sea with themselves. So this is where they find their self-discovery. So isolation is not a term of negativity, but a term of positivity, where transform acts as a medium. And then let's move on to the self-discovery as the most needed skill of human life to find their destiny. So when I say the word destiny, people would think I'm very philosophical, but it's a human nature. We've all have to reach that destiny, right? So for this self-discovery, I would like to give the example of an old man. An old man is on his 60s or 70s. He has to go for a rest, right? But he self-discovered himself by going into the sea. So the setting in the sea not only discovers isolation of him, but also shows us the skill of self-discovery. So I guess every one of us, if you need to develop yourself, isolate yourself from the human world and discover yourself in the way you are. So that is where self discovery is the most needed skill in human life to find your destiny. And then the expression of storytelling. Okay, when I recite a story without any emotions, without any settings, will you guys be able to just be cooperative or feel it interesting? But if I give you a setting, if I give you a way of storytelling, then you guys are more interested. So whenever I describe the sea, the immediate thing that comes to your mind would be an emotional state, right? We get literally connected to the sea. So that is how it is used as a storytelling technique in many novels. You see, like, we can even take Shakespeare's novel, for example, The Tempest. So where he just puts this first scene in the sea, right? So you see as an example of isolation there. The duke is isolated with his daughter. He goes back to the island and he discovers himself. So this is also a way of storytelling. Coastal regions can also be an expression of storytelling, is my concept here. Next is the conclusion part. So my sole purpose of this paper is to prove you guys that authors are using the coastal region, that is a sea, to symbolize how the theme of isolation and self-discovery can take place at the same time, and also to involve you in an emotional note, to make you feel more emotional towards the content. So the sea is a generalized thing which human beings get connected emotionally to. So this is my paper presentation, and I thank each and everyone for providing me an opportunity to present this paper. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Swarna Rekha. It was an innovative presentation. Thank you so much. And now we welcome the third paper presenter, Ms. A. Genita Gladys, a postgraduate student in English at Madras Christian College, Chennai. Her paper, Between Waves and Wisdom, Tradition and Rationality in Coastal Indian Literature, focuses on the dynamic interplay between inherited coastal tradition and emerging rational thought in regional Indian texts, drawing from literary depictions that span oral narratives, folklore, and contemporary fiction. She examines how coastal literature influences social and cultural evolution amid changing times, literary and metaphorically. Ms. Janita is an emerging scholar with a deep interest in how literary expressions negotiate the tension between faith and reason. Her presentation offers a rich dive into the ideological currents that define coastal life and identity. Janita, we look forward for your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Genita Gladys, pursuing first M.A. English literature with the same Chennai team. I'm by thanking Professor and the tactic minds behind this Tandem Symposia. Thank you for the very big opportunity. Today, we're gonna explore. Can you guys see my screen? See my screen, right? Today we'll be exploring how Indian coastal literature that reflects on the tension between age-old traditions and the modern rationality we have today. So there's going to be a very close reading of one poem set in a coastal village. We'll see how everyday life becomes a space for negotiating belief and reason. Coastal literature. I uh, I believe that everyone once in a lifetime has come across this word coastal literature. In India, it captures life at the intersection of nature, tradition, and change. One thing, when we talk about coastal literature in the Indian subcontinent, it is not just about oceans or it's not just about geography. It reflects lives that shaped by sea, by monsoon rhythms, and the communities that is The communities that are deeply rooted in the oral traditions and the spiritual practices. So in this presentation, we are going to explore how one coastal rooted poem reflects a community's emotional and spiritual response to a crisis, a problematic situation. So these coastal regions in this developing country, they come across or they face the external exposure, they face the external trade, they face the external migration, and all these things are happening while they are holding on to their strong belief, their strong internal belief systems. Through the lens of belief and rationality, through the lens of perception of coastal literature, coastal environment and culture, life on coast. I guess the very first thing when we talk about the word coastal that comes across our mind is somewhere a deep calm sea with a pleasant scenery. But there is a lot to explore because coastal regions, they face the unpredictable climatic changes, floods, heavy rains, and when they are isolated with their living conditions, they starve, they have to go through all these steps. And beauty is every single thing. These comes under their yearly routines. When December, November or December month comes, every coastal people, they get ready for the flood. They get ready for the isolated regions, and these reflect the tight knit culture they live in. That they worship the nature and rituals. One main thing is the deep respect they have on for their oral tradition. So communities here often rely on collective memory, tradition, and rituals. Collective memory is in a community, every single person have one superstition or one superstition that they've been fed. That is collective memory. And literature emerging from such spaces reflects the tension between vulnerability to nature and strength in community wisdom. So this just means that we face many natural calamities and the outside influence, the responses to hardship, but all these things are rooted in the traditional beliefs, the wisdom of the community. I grew up in a community, and whatever my community has fed me, that is my communitical wisdom. Today's literary focus is one of the wonderful works of Nissim Ezekiel, 1924 to 2004, The Night of Scorpion. He is termed to be the pioneer of modern English poetry because he wrote English with a distinct Indian voice. This work explores a night in a coastal village during a monsoon season where a mother is stung by a scorpion, and a chain of superstitious rituals happen. And also, there are rational attempts that comes unfold. Ezekiel, he is the modern observer. So he is going to connect, he is going to reflect on two different worlds, both the worlds, the traditional world and the scientific worlds, with the very clarity and empathy. So, Night of Fear, as this topic suggests, a night of fear. Fear is a connected word when it is dark. A sudden scorpion sting during the monsoon triggers panic in coast household. Uh, the monsoon season, the rain is pouring down. This setting is not just a poetic background we are looking at. This is the standard cause of what's going to happen. And when the mom is stung by a scorpion, people are trying to help. The villagers come in, and when they come in, they don't just bring help. They also bring the inherited beliefs. Growing up in the Asian household, I think each one of us can relate what I'm saying. Every person that they come up with their own belief and the traditional practices they've been through their lives. Superstitions. Coastal belief system. I can call it the coastal belief system. So superstitions. One of my favorite part is even until today, the growing young minds when a cat crosses them, they just oh my god, it's bad luck. The cat just crossed. Every superstition that is being fed upon us, it has a story. Well, back in old days, the cat is to chase a snake. So if you see a cat going on a path, if you see a kitten going on a path, then that means a snake was gone by that side. So people used to be careful. There is a chance that there is a snake on that place or on that path. And coming the time changes now, people are very afraid when kittens cross their path. I wonder what cats feel when human crosses. By the way, now they feel like, oh my god, a human just crossed. My day is gonna be bad. The superstitions are like that. They had a reason, but time to time we just ignored the reason and we simply caught upon the explanations we have. The villagers believe that stillness of the mother prevents the poison from spreading. The mother is stung by a scorpion. There is a young child in their household. The villagers are coming to help. You can visualize this scene, and this is a very wonderful setting. That is a monsoon season. It's very dark, which is why maybe it invited scorpion inside the house. People come, and then those people, instead of helping, I would say that these people are scared, because whenever we can think about the examples from our own life, there will be times when we were scared, but instead of thinking, we just go on for something what we believe in. So I think that is what these villages do. The villagers gather, they chant prayers, and they perform rituals, and it is to a point where they offer let us suffer a lot so that the sins of your past life, let it just vanish. So they keep on giving their one thing here we need to notice is we people, there is a lot of developments. People are planning to go to a different planet, but still in coastal regions, these type of practices, they still exist. And I think that this is not because of not because of the lack of education or not because of any other things, but it is because people fail or people ignore to understand the fact. People ignore to differentiate science and superstitions. Speaking of science, here we step on to the role of education. Education is one of the most important topic or most important thing in everybody else's life right now. I could talk about education for one more hour. The role of education in rationality. So, in contrast to this villagers, there is a young child who wants to help. Villagers are coming and praying for their mother. In contrast to this, the father there, who's an educated man, he is adopting the medical remedies. The speaker's father in the poem, he's a skeptic and educated man. He's using powders, herbs, candles to heal his mother. His approach contrasts sharply with the villagers' prayers. This reflects on a coastal intellectual shift between a generation who is shaped by the urban education yet rooted in the rural surroundings. This is very, very important. People, there are a lot of people, they come out for they come out for an exposure, but even us, we come out for a very big exposure. There are many things that we are rooted in the urban education, we are rooted in the oral wisdom that we've been following. But despite this loyalty, even the father cannot guarantee the mom's cure. And here, speaking of coastal, we're gonna look into the symbolism of nature of sea. Nature is something like, comparatively, we are not even a dust, not even a dust to nature. The sea, we are not even a part of the quantity of sea. We are vulnerable to nature. The monsoon becomes a character. It's not just a scenery. It's a force that drives the rain symbolizes the unpredictability, danger, and also we can say it is a divine testing. The poem reminds us how dependent and vulnerable coastal life is to the rhythms of nature, which often enhances the spiritual responses. The storm amplifies the fear, the inner storms of the characters. Broader cultural significance. So this is, I think, the coastal life is somewhere between the nature and the modern world we are living in. This poem captures more than a story. It dramatizes. It dramatizes the struggle of old age beliefs and modern thinking. There are a lot of real life examples where people are still rooted to this old traditions. They term it as faith, which is resulting in a drastic tragedy, I would say. This duality defines much of an Indian coastal literature, whether in language, whether in action, or in a worldview. The tension between the superstition and science, the rural and the urban, it is a constant negotiation, very constant negotiation. So the coastal life, it's not just about a scorpion sting. It is about how community responds to a crisis. How rational I'm gonna think when I am scared. So it's about it shows how the coastal Indian setting becomes a metaphor for coexistence between faith and logic. So in moments of fear, people return to what they know, whether it's science or superstition. This is the truth. This is the reality. When we are scared, when we feel that feeling of fear, we don't we are blank. So we subconsciously turn to what we know, rather than exploring or rather than observing, rather than even thinking. We turn to what we know. The real power of literature, like, it doesn't take sides, I would say. It observes, it honors, and the literature also questions. So this coastal literature, it's not a fantasy, it's not a romance. So when I say coastal literature, we don't get the images of a calm sea and a pleasant minds fishing. It's far more than that. It's far more than that. It speaks to real people. We talk about real language, real struggle. We don't just see a family in crisis, a family in a situation, but a whole coastal worldview. It's unfolding the tradition where fear, care, and science these overlap in a very complex way. Fear, care, and tradition these overlap in a very complex way. This is also a portrayal of angst. It's not an emotion, it's angst. It could be a linguistic, it could be social, and even economic. It's this angst is a deep cultural tension. It's a very deep cultural tension. I call it linguistic angst, as characters switch between this language of superstition and the voice of modernity. So, such poems like these, it reminds us that the coastal literature, it isn't an escapist, I would say. It demands attention. It requires to be studied very critically through language, community behavior, and even economic constraints. It brings coastal India not as a backdrop, but definitely as a living experience. It's not just something not just a setting where I see, where I imagine, it's the reality of people living. And, thank you everyone again for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Genita. A wonderful presentation. Thank you to all for the thought-provoking contribution. In the audience has questions, observations, or if you want to share anything, please feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your virtual hand. Our keynote speaker would be delighted to hear from you, and we could enrich the conversation further.
Thank you, Rufus, sir, for joining us. And thank you, Dr. Ahalya, for giving us an overview of the coastal regions. I was also thinking that the maritime history could be an important part of this, and I was also thinking we could geohistories, politics, geohistories. Uh, this actually led to future sections for the study. But, given remarks. Dr. Ahalya.
Preeti ma'am, your voice is breaking. You're not audible.
Okay, we'll close the session then.
Okay, ma'am. Before we conclude, I would like to request all the participants to take a moment to fill out the Google feedback form. The link is now shared in the chat box. Your feedback helps us refine these sessions and shape the direction of In Tandem going forward. We deeply appreciate your time and responses. Thank you in advance. So as we draw this session to a close, let us take a moment to reflect on the richness of what we have just experienced. Today's discourse did not merely skim the surface of the coast. It dove deep into the complex undercurrents that shape identity, belonging, and voice in the coastal Indian literature. Heartfelt thanks to our keynote speaker, Dr. Ahalya Sukumar, for her illuminating keynote, to our brilliant paper presenters for their thoughtful navigations, and to each and every participant for being a part of this confluence of ideas in a world constantly redrawing its borders and reimagining its margins. Coastal narratives remind us that edges can be beginnings and fluidity can be power. And through the presentation of all our presenters, we could understand that very deeply today. And I think everyone here who is participating will take something back from this In Tandem presentation symposia. Thank you so much, and until we meet again at the next In Tandem gathering, stay inspired and let the tides of knowledge carry you forward. Thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.